The fourth groom never made it past our front gate. Clara had locked herself inside her bedroom again, but this time, I already knew why. Hidden behind her wallpaper was a steel safe containing bank records, photographs, and a diary proving that Leo and his mother had been using Clara's weddings as pieces in a terrifying financial trap aimed directly at me. What they did not know was that Clara and I had finally stopped running, and by sunrise, their own signatures would destroy everything they had built. Before we begin, dear friends, please help me, your subscription is very valuable to me. Please subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. 3 years earlier, Clara had been the happiest woman in our family. She was my husband Daniel's younger sister, 28 years old, intelligent, gentle, and considerate. She worked as an interior designer and earned around $72,000 a year. She saved carefully, never carried credit card debt, and kept every receipt in labeled envelopes. That was why her first broken wedding shocked everyone. The groom was named Adrian. 200 guests had arrived. The flowers alone had cost $11,800. Clara wore an ivory silk gown with hand-sewn pearls along the sleeves. At 11:40 that morning, only 20 minutes before the ceremony, she vanished. We found her bedroom locked. Her mother, Margaret, pounded on the door. Daniel shouted her name. Adrian stood downstairs, humiliated in front of his entire family. Then the door opened. Clara walked out barefoot. Her mascara had run down her cheeks. But she did not approach Adrian. She did not apologize to Margaret. She walked directly toward me. Then she dropped to her knees. "Jasmine, forgive me." Those were her only words. I grabbed her shoulders. "For what?" She stared at me as though answering would get someone killed. "I can't tell you." The wedding collapsed within an hour. Adrian left. Margaret blamed me before sunset. "You've filled her head with something," she hissed. I laughed because the accusation seemed ridiculous. I had helped Clara choose Adrian. But 14 months later, it happened again. Different groom. Different venue. Same nightmare. This time Clara disappeared from a hotel bridal suite exactly 37 minutes before the ceremony. Security found her hiding inside an unused conference room. Again, she came straight to me. Again, she whispered, "Forgive me." By the third cancelled wedding, relatives stopped calling it coincidence. They called it sabotage. And somehow, every suspicious glance landed on me. Even Daniel began asking uncomfortable questions. "Does Clara tell you things she doesn't tell me?" "No." "Are you encouraging her to leave these men?" "No." "Then why does she always apologize to you?" I had no answer. But I noticed something nobody else noticed. After every cancelled wedding, Margaret never looked truly surprised. She looked angry. Not at Clara. At me. And each time, she immediately made one phone call. Always to the same person. Leo Mercer. Their family attorney. Personally, Leo Mercer was 51, polished, expensive, and always smelled of cedarwood cologne. He wore a $14,000 Cartier watch and drove a black Mercedes S-Class. Margaret introduced him as an old family friend, but something about their conversations felt rehearsed. After Clara's third cancelled wedding, I started watching them. Not obviously. Quietly. I wrote down dates. Times. Phone calls. Then came the fourth wedding. The groom, Ethan, seemed perfect. But 3 days before the ceremony, Clara appeared at my apartment unexpectedly. Her hands were trembling. "Jasmine, if something happens at the wedding, don't trust Margaret." I stared at her. "What does that mean?" She immediately regretted saying it. "Nothing. Clara, 3 weddings have collapsed. Everyone thinks I'm responsible. Tell me what is happening." She started crying. "I'm trying to protect you." Before I could question her further, she left. That sentence stayed inside my head. On the wedding morning, I watched Margaret carefully. At 9:15, she handed Leo a brown envelope. At 9:28, Leo left the house. At 10:11, Clara received a message. Her face went white. Seconds later, she ran upstairs and locked herself inside her bedroom. The ceremony was supposed to begin at noon. By 12:30, Ethan's family was furious. Margaret performed her usual outrage perfectly. She has humiliated us again. But I was watching her eyes. She kept checking her phone. At 1:15, Ethan finally left. That evening, relatives gathered downstairs, demanding explanations. Then, shortly after midnight, someone touched my shoulder. "Clara. Come with me." She led me upstairs without switching on the hallway lights. Inside her bedroom, she locked the door. Then she pulled a bookshelf away from the wall. Behind it was floral wallpaper. She peeled back one corner. My stomach tightened. A rectangular section had been carefully cut from the drywall. Inside was a small steel safe. Clara entered 6 digits. The door clicked open. Inside were 4 folders, 3 flash drives, a leather diary, and photocopies of financial documents. She handed me the first folder. My name was printed across it. I opened it. There was a life insurance application for $1,800,000. I was listed as the insured person. Daniel appeared as beneficiary. But the signature supposedly belonging to me was forged. My fingers went numb. "There's more," Clara whispered. The second document showed a company called JM Property Holdings. According to the paperwork, I owned 49%. I had never heard of it. Then I saw transactions. $320,000. $185,000. $94,000. All transferred through accounts carrying variations of my name. What is this? Clara opened her diary. Leo created everything. Why? She swallowed. Because Margaret owes over $2 million. Then Clara said the sentence that changed everything. And she planned to make you responsible for it. I did not scream. I became completely calm. For the first time, Clara explained everything. Margaret and Leo had secretly borrowed money through shell companies, using forged documents connected to my identity. Each time Clara prepared to marry, Margaret demanded that she sign documents transferring family assets into those companies. Clara refused. Margaret threatened to destroy me financially. So Clara sabotaged every wedding before Margaret could force the signatures. That was why she apologized to me. She had been protecting me while allowing everyone to hate her. I photographed every document. Then I called attorney Rebecca Sloan the next morning. Within 48 hours, Rebecca arranged forensic examinations of the signatures and contacted federal investigators. We did nothing publicly. For 6 weeks, I smiled at Margaret across the dinner table. Meanwhile, investigators traced 9 accounts containing $2,473,000. Leo had transferred hundreds of thousands into an offshore account. Margaret had also used forged guarantees to secure property loans. The trap was ready. Rebecca arranged a family meeting, pretending I wanted to discuss transferring my legitimate investment property into JM Property Holdings. Margaret arrived smiling. Leo brought his leather briefcase. Daniel looked confused. Clara sat beside me silently. Leo placed documents on the table. "Sign here, Jasmine." I picked up the pen. Then I smiled. No. The conference room door opened. Rebecca entered with 2 investigators. Margaret's face emptied of color. Leo immediately closed his briefcase. Rebecca placed copies of the forged insurance application, bank transfers, and signature analysis across the table. "This meeting is being recorded." Margaret turned toward Clara. "You betrayed me?" Clara finally looked directly at her mother. "No. I stopped protecting you." Leo attempted to leave. An investigator blocked the doorway. The consequences came quickly. Accounts were frozen. Properties purchased through fraudulent financing were seized. Leo lost his license after disciplinary proceedings and later faced criminal charges connected to fraud and identity theft. Margaret was forced to sell her luxury home. Her jewelry collection, including a $27,000 diamond bracelet, disappeared at auction. Daniel was devastated when he learned how long his mother had manipulated everyone. He apologized to Clara first, then to me. Months later, Clara married Ethan quietly. Only 12 people attended. This time, she walked toward him smiling. I eventually moved with Daniel into a smaller house near the coast. There were no hidden accounts. No whispered threats. No locked bedroom doors. Sometimes revenge is not screaming louder than the people who hurt you. Sometimes it is staying silent long enough to collect every signature they thought nobody would ever see. And sometimes karma arrives carrying documents. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what you would have done.